the Byberry Mental Hospital. The Philadelphia State Hospital, better known as Byberry, was opened in 1911. At its peak, it housed around 4,500 patients, which was 2,000 over the capacity of the hospital. At first owned by the city, the hospital's goal was to help move the insane out of the state jails and give proper treatment. This, however, went terribly wrong. In 1946, Life magazine wrote an article exposing Byberry for what it actually was. Thousands spent their days locked in restraints, Life magazine wrote. Thick leather handcuffs, great canvas camisoles and restraining sheets. Hundreds confined in lodges, which by night were merely black tombs, in which the cries of the insane echo unheard from the peeling plaster of the walls. Like most insane asylums, Byberry's main issue was staffing. As the number of patients grew, staff numbers stayed the same. Due to the overworking of staff members, abuse became common. This only increased further as people who were not qualified to work with the insane were employed as an effort to fight understaffing. The neglect was so bad that people would be restrained for months, even years at a time, left to lie in their own filth, nothing to do other than to descend into further madness. By the time the 1970s rolled around, 57 deaths were attributed to Byberry alone. Even murder happened upon the grounds at Byberry, as one female patient was raped, killed, and discarded on the property. Her death was only discovered after residents were found carrying around her teeth. Thankfully, on the day of June 21, 1990, Byberry closed its doors, ending the suffering for the many people that lived there. However, there are some that believe that there are those who may never leave, forced to wander the grounds of the facility forever, seeking the justice they never received. The Fernald State School. Opening its doors in the year 1888, the institution was originally called the Massachusetts School for the Feeble-Minded. However, it was renamed for its third superintendent, Walter E. Fernald. While many asylums have controversy and pain surrounding them, it is easy to see why many people consider the Fernald State School to be despicable. The third superintendent of the school was very well known for his view on eugenics. That is, he believed in separating the so-called inferior from the normal people. Physical and sexual abuse was not unheard of in this facility, with the 1940s and 50s being some of its worst years. The most despicable act that happened upon the grounds occurred in the early 40s. Overseen by Harvard and endorsed by Quaker Oats, yes, the popular cereal brand, was a club called the Science Club. However, this was no ordinary club. As an incentive to join, young boys aged between 10 and 17 were given trips off the grounds, gifts, and extra food. As good and sweet as this may seem, the institution had ulterior motives. With the food came milk and cereal, laced with radioactive iron and calcium. In some parts of the experiment, the boys were injected with radioactive calcium. In both cases, the boys were none the wiser about what was occurring, some not even finding out until decades later. As a matter of fact, Quaker Oats was not even taken to court until 1993 for their disgraceful action, which was only conducted as a way to get rid of other cereal brand competition. In the 1970s, the Fernald State School was finally hit with a state lawsuit that required them to correct their actions regarding abuse and terrible conditions. However, it was not until 2014 that the institution was shut down altogether, and just about time, as the horrifying history of this building will remain forever in the minds of the people of Massachusetts. Perhaps this is something to ponder about the next time you eat your breakfast oatmeal. The Athens Lunatic Asylum. Located in Ohio, the Athens Lunatic Asylum was opened in 1874 and provided some very good care to the Civil War veterans. Unfortunately, as it seems to be a trend, things were not good for long. The hospital itself boasted a program that allowed veterans to perform daily tasks such as farming, working, and relaxing as a part of their rehabilitation. However, as staff quickly realized they could profit from the work of these young men, they became greedy. Additionally, the numbers of the people taken into the facility grew to 2,000 patients, triple the capacity. The patients would be taken in for a variety of bogus reasons, such as menopause, menstrual derangements, and even masturbation addiction. These patients were given treatments such as lobotomies, hydrotherapy, electroshock, and even drugs which are now known today to cause great harm. As if the idea of the asylum alone wasn't enough to creep one out, they also had their own cemetery started up shortly after the opening of Athens. Up until 1972, patients that were not claimed by their family were buried there, simply given numbered gravestones. Thankfully today, the cemetery is maintained by the Ohio Department of Mental Health, giving respect to those who had none in their lifetime of torture. In the history of Athens Asylum, they made news multiple times. However, the most popular story is that of Miss Margaret Schilling. She was a patient who went missing on the day of December 1st, 1978, and was not located until January 12th, 1979. Her naked body was found in a locked and abandoned area of the facility, clothes neatly folded beside her. What makes her death so noteworthy, though, is the fact that her body left a permanent stain on the floor. Despite an endless amount of effort to clean away the stain, one can still see how this poor woman laid in her final moments on this earth. Other notable patients included Billy Milligan, a convicted rapist who was diagnosed with multiple personality disorder. Finally, in 1993, the facility shut down and the remaining patients were transferred. Nowadays, the grounds are a hotbed for paranormal activity, having disembodied voices, squeaking gurneys, lights, and the screams of unseen people. The buildings are mostly the property of the Ohio University, but one has to wonder if the spirits left behind are the true owners of this building. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and comment what other videos I should do. Other than that, have a great day and don't forget to pet your cats!